My name is Matt Kukta. I am an associate professor of geology within the Department of Chemistry and Physics here at the University of Wisconsin-Stout. We've got a greenhouse which we were growing potatoes in simulated Martian soil. The main reason that we're doing this is so that my students and I can figure out, would it be possible for an astronaut who is stranded on Mars to grow enough food in a short time frame to actually survive on what was grown inside that space station. So we've assembled a replica space station. We've created soil that simulates the soil that we might find on Mars, and we're starting to grow potatoes inside this greenhouse. So we have 12 different bins filled with our simulated Mars soil. Each bin has about 2 gallons of the Mars soil. Most of it has a little bit of worm fertilizer. So in the movie they used human waste. We're not going to do that. We're using worm waste or worm castings as our fertilizer. A few of the potatoes are doing really well, which is exciting. So it's nice to actually have some data. I've made some space compost. This is just organic material that might have been accessible to an astronaut stranded on Mars. In general, there's not a lot of organic or carbon-based material in a spaceship or in a habitat because of the fire hazards. So to make space compost, I took material like peanut butter, coffee grounds, hot sauce, some beans and rice, a few other instant soup mixes, protein bars, paper towels, cotton balls, and mixed them all up with some of the Martian soil. And just after a month, that red, dusty, dry, plain Martian soil is now much darker. The very first thing we had to do was actually create the Martian soil. We had to bake that soil at 500 degrees Celsius, so about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, for a couple hours to vaporize and bake off all of the organic material and sterilize the soil. Then we took some cut potato ends. We took those and buried them in the soil, and hopefully they would start growing. We're also adding moisture to the soil. We have moisture sensors in the soil, so we know how much water we have. We've also got lights set up. So we have LED strip lights that are producing a spectrum of light, red, green, and blue light wavelengths for the plants to use. But we're keeping the light intensity lower than you might otherwise have in an earthbound greenhouse. We're also setting up a timer so that they get about 16 hours of light, 8 hours of dark. Students involved with the project are tackling some of these questions in a few different ways. We have students in Dr. Amanda Little's class, Plants and People, and they're just looking at what kinds of plants grow and do well in Mars soil compared to normal garden soil. My students are looking at the interaction between the chemistry of the soil and the plant itself by looking at the nutrient cycle. And as the students go through the rest of the semester, one of my goals is to get the students to really understand the connection between nutrient cycling and plant growth.